In this video, I want to talk to you about a simple tip when it comes to fishing a swim jig that can make you a lot more efficient when you're out there on the water. I think that the biggest thing in bass fishing in general, in order to become a better angler, in order to catch more fish and bigger fish, simply learning how to be efficient is the best thing that we can do. Depending on what lure you are fishing, it all looks a little bit different. Now, in this video, I'm gonna talk specifically about swim jigs and how to be a little bit more efficient. One really simple tip. Now, before we get into it, this video is brought to you by Finn Fishing Apparel, and it is still the month of July. I think there's 10 days left in the month of July, and right now, all of the sun shirts over at Finn Fishing are 15% off. So these are a USA made product, one of the only ones made here in the US, and right now they are on sale. So I have some solid colors like the one that you see right here. This is actually one of the most popular ones, just a good old gray. And then I have some other different pattern type colors. I think I have 9 or 10, 10 or 11 actually. But anyways, I'm gonna leave some links down below in the description. Shopping at Finn Fishing is the best way to help support this channel, and I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's talk a little bit about the swim jig. I love fishing a swim jig. I'm gonna throw this on real quick, but something that I have learned specifically from really watching a lot of like Bass Live is one really simple thing that you can not only apply to swim jigs, but a lot of different lures. And this actually really derives from watching Steve Kennedy out there on the water. If you guys have ever watched Steve Kennedy, he's been around bass fishing for a long, long time. But he in my mind is good at really a couple of different techniques. Like you see him top 10ing in tournaments doing like one of two techniques. One is a swim bait, in which you can apply this same tip to. The other one is a swim jig. There's a lot of times where he is on Bass Live fishing a swim jig, and I've always been super intrigued by it. Now, if you watch Steve Kennedy in the way that he fishes a swim jig, he's an Alabama guy. First of all, you should know that because Alabama, I feel like it's not the home to swim jig fishing, but there is a lot of swim jig fishing to be done in Alabama, especially with a lot of willow grass. I mean, you can fish a swim jig anywhere in the country, but I just feel like it's different down there in Bama. But with that being said, he's an Alabama angler. And one of the things that I was always intrigued by when it came to Steve Kennedy fishing is that he is always pitching his swim jig. When he is out there fishing, he's pitching it. He's not making a long cast. Now, typically, when I fish a swim jig, it is a cast. It's kind of like fishing a spinnerbait for me. Like I'm casting at cover, I'm reeling it, and they may not be long bomb casts, but most of the time, I am casting. And so what I noticed with Steve Kennedy is that he's always pitching. He's literally always underhand pitching to cover. He's also really close to cover. So what I did a number of years ago is I just went out to like experiment. I noticed that he was doing it. I went out to experiment. And again, this comes back to efficiency. And what I kind of figured out is that when Steve Kennedy approaches a piece of cover, he will remain fairly close to that cover. And he makes 5 or 6 pitches to that piece of cover in about the exact same time that I may make 1 or 2 casts. So inevitably, he's hitting about 3 times more high percentage areas in the time that I make one cast. Like I truly believe he's about 3 times more efficient when it comes to fishing that swim jig, simply by getting a little bit closer in making more pitches than a cast. Because if you are casting to cover, a lot of times there is a wasted amount of time in that cast. Like once you kind of get past that zone where the fish potentially could be, you're pretty much just reeling that bait in really, really quick where he's more than likely not going to hit it, and then you're making another cast. So there's waste in reeling that up. There's also waste in the amount of like time it takes to make that cast. Where with a pitch, when you pitch that bait out, you're maybe only pitching it 20, 30, 40 feet from the boat itself, from where you are. You're working it, you know, like through that 10-foot zone where maybe that bass is. You're reeling up slightly, making another pitch. Like there's no movement like here. It's reel up, pitch, reel up, pitch. And it's something that, it's one of those things in bass fishing that, again, it all comes back to efficiency. And if you watch the guys that are the best at certain techniques, more times than not, they are simply more efficient at it than you. Like, I watched Edwin Evers this year cranking down a bank. Like, I've talked about this endlessly, but it caught my eye how efficient he was at cranking. It's not necessarily that he's a better fisherman than everyone, which he actually is a better fisherman than everyone, but he's also extremely efficient, and he's aware of being efficient out there on the water. So no matter what technique that you like to fish, I think one of the best things that you can do is sit back and think about, how can I be more efficient at what I'm doing? And there's a lot of different little things that you can do that might give you a 10%, 20%, 50%, 300% advantage over other anglers. I know for me, like for example, flipping matted vegetation is one that I have noticed you can be very efficient in at times and get a lot more bites. A number of years ago, I was on a really good flipping bite. I was with a guy in the boat. He was flipping a 3/4 ounce weight. I was flipping 1 1/4 ounce weight. I simply spent less time jiggling this bait, my bait like this. Like a lot of times when you're flipping mats, your bait will get hung up for a split second. Using an extra 1/2 ounce of a weight, it would pretty much get through right away, go to the bottom, where he spent a little bit more time jiggling that bait to get it to go through the mat. And I was simply just more efficient. I could pick up, I could probably make 2 or 3 pitches into the grass as opposed to the one that he was making. Again, efficiency is a really, really big deal at it. So no matter what you're fishing, whether it is a swim jig, a freaking worm, a flipping setup, a chatterbait, no matter what it is, always think about how can you be more efficient when you're out there on the water. I'm telling you, that is what's going to help you to catch more and catch bigger ones. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to check out the fin fishing gear. I'll have linked right here. See you guys.